The RV Show USA is brought to you by Flagstaff, Rockwood, building better RVs, making smarter RVers.
All right, so recently I invited some folks to submit questions, viewers to submit questions and topics that they would like to hear discussed or questions answered here on the show from people that are in the RV industry. We got a bunch of them, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, if you will, and right next to it, you see the bell. Mash that bell button as well. That way you will receive a notification each time we release a new video. Hi, everybody. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. We got a bunch of questions and topics to discuss about the RV industry with our friend, Mr. Zach Rininger, known as Flagstaff Zach.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you perfectly. Now, for those that are watching this video, you are no newcomer to the RV industry. Give us a little bit of background, if you would.
Well, I personally have been in the RV industry on the manufacturing side since 2005. I guess you could say that I'm a third generation for this. My dad was involved in it, a lot of the conversion band type time period. And my grandfather was actually an RV manufacturer's rep like myself. My grandmaster was about doing a lot of what I do just decades and decades ago. So it kind of runs deep for us.
Wow, that's cool. I had no idea.
And just to clarify, I work for Forest River and I work for the Flagstaff division of Forest River.
Right. So the interest in RVing is still pretty insane, isn't it? I mean, things are going really good sales wise, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like we continue to repeat. I mean, it just keeps growing and growing. Like I told you last time I was on, our house flooded during the storms in Texas. And it's almost like it doesn't matter what trade's coming through, whether it's my plumber, a concrete guy, or a sheetrock. As soon as they find out what I do, everybody's like, oh, they want to know more and they want to ask questions and they're shopping for one or that. And it's nonstop. It's kind of cool because it's finally going everywhere, which is so awesome.
So how much better is it? I don't know if this makes any sense, but before COVID, January of what was that, 2020, things were good. I mean, things were really good. How much better is it now in terms of sales? It's a lot better, right? I mean, not just a little bit, it's a way lots better.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? I think we just had the 5th or 6th record shipment month in our history, our 105-year history. And by shipment month, I mean, they track the units that are being built by manufacturers and shipped to dealers. While that's happening at the same time, we have record low inventories in the field, meaning the inventory at the dealer level is at record lows. So demand is continuing to completely far outstrip our ability to adapt to the current environment and produce more. And not just us, but also our suppliers as well.
And the reason is, I mean, just in the short story is that COVID made it difficult. Everybody shut down, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's so many things that contribute to it. Obviously, the level of demand, and I think COVID, I would say it pulled forward about 5 to 7 years worth of our industry's growth that I think was going to happen organically, and it just made it happen in a 6 to 12 month period. What that means is so all those shutdowns we had, there were backlogs continuing to pile up, and then all the different regulations in different states and different cities, different countries, for our suppliers, especially where they need to manufacture or import the parts that we use to build, and they're backed up, or maybe that factory over in this country was shut down or continues to get shut down. And so when we had, for our industry, as far as manufacturers, we had to shut down for roughly 6 to 8 weeks during the peak of COVID in the beginning. And we've never been able to dig back out of that hole that created with, those are two of the largest normally production months of the year, and then demand just took off. And so we just keep digging a hole, from demand side where we can't refill it with the dirt of more product just yet.
So the rumors that we hear about manufacturers not being able to fulfill the demand, they're not rumors. It's reality.
No, it's real. It's certainly real.
Yeah.
And obviously I can't speak for all brands, but when I speak with my dealers that carry multiple products, it's across the board. Some are more impacted than others. And obviously I think Flagstaff and Rockwood are bearing a large brunt of that just because of who we are and our reputation, and especially for the first time buyers. We're finding they're doing a lot of research, and they're very particular about what they want, which has benefited us. But I joke a lot that my job has now just purely become disappointing people on a daily basis because everybody wants to go camping so bad. But when I tell them the reality of how long it's going to take, you're just kind of letting the wind out of everyone's sails all day long. So demand has not waned, and if anything, I think it's getting a little bit crazier right now. And
Really?
yeah, I mean, well, we're peak of season. I mean, Memorial Day weekend, so you're going to have that. And dealer inventories are just they're bad. I mean, they're just not where they need to be to have a healthy market right now.
I know that you say you have to make a lot of phone calls and give news that RVers that are so excited, they don't want to hear, but they do want to hear the truth. And what is, talk to me about price increases. We hear that the prices have gone up. Is that true? And what can we expect in the future in terms of buying an RV?
Yeah, I know you and I have touched on this multiple times now. It's like we're a broken record where it seems like every time we talk, it's gotten more and more expensive. We continue to see price increases. I think everyone knows, not being political, but inflation's here. I mean, you go to Home Depot and just buy some wood. It's crazy. It's the reality out there. So price increases are happening. The industry as a whole, pretty much, I think every brand out there is taking another one June 1st. And that was a pretty significant one, depending on the product. And then I'm hearing rumor that we're seeing, since we've even released that pricing, we're seeing massive price increases on other items. For our purchasing agents internally, it's nonstop every day, and it's almost a little relentless from that standpoint. And for us, it's challenging because as soon as we pass that price on to our dealer and you go sell it to a customer, but then the next day we get a 12% increase on steel, it's such an uncomfortable thing to try to navigate internally. But it's also unfortunate for our retail customers too, who are trying to navigate it when they're looking today, trying to make a good decision. But then 6 months from now, maybe when they're ready to purchase, the landscape has changed. Maybe it's 10% more.
So hang on just a second. So what I'm hearing, the days of ordering an RV that may have taken 3 to 4 months to get built from the factory, it's now taking what, 5 or 6 months, and it's not price protected if you order one?
The price protection is in years past, we've usually been really good about being able to price protect something. Things are happening so quickly and so dynamically today that I can't even commit. Even my own management can't commit because we just don't know what we're getting into, which is challenging. So we're working with our dealers and we're trying to make sure that nobody's getting hurt by this. But as far as lead times, I mean, years past, we used to have some of the longer lead times in the industry for a retail sold order, which would have been about 12 weeks. Mm-hmm. Today, I'm telling customers, 5 months minimum, 20 weeks. I've got some that are getting out to 24. Our pop-up plant specifically is really hampered. Which is our tent campers. Some of that's reaching 6-7 months. And the other thing that I always share with customers ordering too is that every estimate we give is exactly that. It's an estimate, and it comes with an asterisk. And the asterisk is the shortages we're experiencing, the imports that we're trying to bring in and figure out. We don't know what we don't know yet. That unit might come off in 5 months, but maybe it sits there for 3 weeks waiting on a refrigerator. And then it's got to go to transport, and that could be another 2 to 3 weeks. So that's when I joke that I say I disappoint people all the time. They get excited because they've got, it comes off May 11th. So excited. But guess what? It's May 26th, and that unit's still sitting there on shortages because we can't get cushions for their furniture.
Right.
And then it's going to go to transport. I mean, it's just nonstop like that.
What about, we got somebody on YouTube has a question. Why can somebody not just go straight to a manufacturer and just get the dealer out of the middle of it and buy an RV? Great question, I think.
It doesn't benefit the customer by any means. It's so valuable to have a local dealer that's going to take care of you, service you, warranty you. You want that hands-on experience. You want that walkthrough. You want the person that sold you the unit that you can call and ask questions, or the service department that's going to get you in and take care of you. It's the same thing with a Ford or a Chevy. You don't go direct to Detroit to buy them because we have our dealer partners that's their expertise. We're
You
experts
need
in
that
building
relationship.
product. Yeah. And that's not our world, right? We're experts in building product and looking at markets and, what's selling there and trying to forecast, which has kind of gone out the window in the current environment. But you want the relationship on the local level. The dealers are so incredibly valuable to have, and we will never cut them out.
All right, folks, we're talking with Flagstaff Zach Rininger. He works with the Flagstaff Rockwood division of Forest River. And if you've got a question about RVing, about the state of the RV industry, if you are confused about something, maybe you've heard a rumor, now's a good time to go ahead and post it in the comments. We've got actually Zach is going to be on tonight's live stream and then again next week. So if we don't get to your questions tonight, we will get to them on next week's show. But Zach, when it comes to connecting with customers, one positive thing I'm seeing is that consumer shows are starting to come back. And there is nothing better, in my view, than getting the consumer inside lots of different RVs so they can learn the difference between a quality one and a crappy one, and they can learn a lot in a short amount of time. That's got to be good news for you, isn't it?
It is. In a lot of ways, it's great for the customer. I mean, as far as my family life and my travels, it's not always good news. It's a lot of travel, and we go to a lot of shows. But you nailed it. I mean, there's no really good resource for these people that have never done this, or even the people that have one before and they want to see what's new, to get out there, get their hands dirty, if you will, and see what they like. I mean, it's very, very difficult for a customer today to just be ordering off of a piece of paper. And we get that. So I think it's really valuable for what's happening in our industry, the number of first timers that are coming in. It's going to be interesting to see if that is actually still viable to do, though. And I don't necessarily just mean from a COVID standpoint, but I mean from an inventory standpoint. If a dealer that costs a lot of money and a lot of time to go into these shows and to set this up and bring all these units, and you want to bring as many as you can to maximize what your space is. But when you don't have any units in inventory, what are you supposed to take? And how do you justify those costs of going to do it when you don't have anything to take and sell? So it's going to get interesting, I think, when these shows do come back around and what that's going to look like, if they're going to be smaller footprint or how we're going to be able to navigate it. Because I think we've still got, my gut tells me we've still got a pretty long road ahead of us of trying to adapt to the current environment.
I agree. I want to ask you about, and this is maybe kind of a sensitive question, but with so many challenges going on, there have got to be some manufacturers that are cutting corners. I mean, cutting things that maybe we can't see as a consumer, but they're not good for us. I mean, they're good for getting stuff out the door, but maybe not for us, the person that's buying the RV. Is that true, or are they just rumors?
Alan, that was true before this happened. And if anything, this has just exacerbated the problem on some level. And I think it's a challenge for some of these brands because there's trying to balance the level of demand and satisfy your customers with the fact that we're not able to get the parts that they would normally use. And what we're running into and things that we're hearing out there or feedback or pictures from our customers. I mean, I've had dealers that have told me one brand, they had like 5 or 6 of that particular brand show up on their lot in a week. And each one of those units had a different set of wheels, a different entry door. Maybe it didn't have an air conditioner and they were going to ship the air conditioners later. I've heard lots of substitutions for the fiberglass bat type insulation because there's shortages of that in the whole country, not just the RVs. So they're substituting very subpar materials for some of that. And what's tough about this is most customers don't know, or they don't know what to look for. How do you figure that out? And it's a little scary for me for some of these products, and some people could have a pretty bad experience. And I also realize that a lot of what we talk about, we sound a little bit like broken records where it's, we just talk about Flagstaff and Rockwood, but it's because we talk the truth, and what we do and what we're trying to do is we've stayed true to where we're at and how we build and the products that we use. And we've battled shortages and we've tried to pivot where we can, but we're not running hot, like a lot of these other brands that are running way more production than they should. We're trying to keep it level so that we can maintain our quality because we know it's the long-term play. We've been here the same team, same management for 44 years. And we're thinking about the next 10 to 20 years. Yeah. And it's, so we can take that long-term approach, and we step back and you can look at some of this of what other people are doing. It's like, it might benefit you today, tomorrow, this year, but it's going to bite you and your customer in the next 12 to 18 months when the dust really settles from this, or they have a problem with those wheels and they can't figure out, well, if we got 5 units in the last week that we've all used different wheels on, which wheel do we send them?
Right.
Just that ownership experience that they're going to have is just not going to be great. And that's one of my greatest fears for our industry, is that we're going to squander an incredible opportunity that we have right now with all these new people coming to experience this awesome industry. 70% of them are going to just be like, this is terrible. Because
if that is so bad for the long-term growth of our industry. We want people to buy not one RV, but a bunch of them through their life. And if they have a crappy experience with a crappy RV and terrible service, it's not just they're out of the market, but they're going to tell everybody, hey, you don't want to do that. Yeah. And that's not good. So, learning, getting that education is so important. One final question, then we got to let you jump, and we'll connect next week and answer a bunch of folks' questions. But is now a good time to buy a new RV?
Alan, I would say yes. And it's like it'd be almost if someone asked you, is it a good time to buy a house? House prices are going through the roof. Should I buy a house? I don't know. Well, do you need a place to live? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go camping? Yeah. Can you afford it? Are you not making a bad financial decision for your family? Yeah, then buy one. They're not going to get any cheaper. In my years that I've done this, they've always gotten more expensive over the years. And one other thing I talk about with families too is, especially if they've got kids, they're only 5 and 6 once. Next year, they're 6 and 7. The year after that, and those opportunities to enjoy those experiences that only RVing can really offer only happen now. And that sounds like a cliche type closing, like, oh, you got to buy. I'm just being real, because I've worked with so many families over the years, that at shows and at the feedback. The best time to buy something is as soon as it makes financial sense for your family, and then when you guys have the desire to do it. And if the family wants to go do it and it makes sense for you financially, buy today. If not, buy later.
Do your homework.
When it does make sense.
Do your homework, buy today, and use your RV. Man, there's nothing worse than spending good money on a great RV and then just letting it sit there. Take your family out, make those memories. The Flagstaff Zach, I got to jump, but we'll catch up with you next week. Do this again, answer lots of questions. All right?
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much for having me on, and thank you to your listeners. I appreciate you guys.
All right, you take care. All right, good guy right there, folks. I hope our conversation helped paint it a good picture, an accurate picture, if you will, about the way the RV industry is right now. We would very much like to know what you think in the comments. If you liked this interview, please hit the thumbs up button and hit the bell too. That way you'll receive notifications of when we release a new video. And if you have a question or a topic, Shemai, can you put the phone number up on the screen, if you would? If you have a question for Flagstaff Zach and you don't want to post it in the comments, all you have to do is call us, leave a voicemail message. He's going to be on next week, and we will take, tell you what, we're going to take phone calls first. So voicemail messages first. If you, I know a bunch of you had questions. Miss Katie, you've been sending me some of them, and I apologize. Zach was just on a roll. We will get to them next week, but we're going to take our phone calls first. So if you call the phone number on the screen, 1330-Wingman, you'll be able to leave a message. And there's no topic that's really, that we won't touch on. Zach is really straightforward, and he will tell you the truth from his perspective. And he's been in this industry a very long time. Again, the phone number is 1330-Wingman. It's a voicemail. You can talk up to 3 minutes and leave a message, a long message. Don't want to spell it out. 1330-946-4626.